Well, if you thought my Halloween video was the only one I'd be making, you were wrong. It's that time of the year again, and this time, I'm not talking about spooky season. I'm talking about Thanksgiving, the most underrated holiday to ever exist. Honestly, there's so many good things about it, including the whole Thanksgiving break, which Halloween doesn't even bless you with, and for some reason, I'm not seeing any goddamn Thanksgiving hype. Fuck Santa, it's not his time yet. It's the month of the turkey. And a grand month it is. You might think Thanksgiving is straightforward enough. A feast is cooked and the whole family eats it. That's it, right? Wrong. The secrets to celebrating the ideal Thanksgiving are all contained within this video, where you and I are gonna dive into the best ways to prepare and make the most out of this day. It isn't as simple as you think it is, and trust me, because that's what Santa wants you to believe. Him stocking the stores with Christmas shit more than a month before the dawn of the big day. He's trying to brainwash everyone into forgetting Thanksgiving exists, but I don't fuck with that. So, rev up those fryers, cause good fella Carbon Flash gonna tell you how to Thanksgiving like Santa wouldn't want you to. Buckle up, boys.
My leather jacket thriller, they're showing at the Miller. Man, I'm a lady killer. If I want her, I'm a stiller. I promise I can make her fly away like caterpillars. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
I'm going to start off by covering ways to prepare in advance, because having the ideal Thanksgiving needs more than just a day of thought. It can't all be done on one day, and it shouldn't. First of all, decorations are a must. And I'm not talking about the leftover half-assed pumpkins and scarecrows from Halloween. No, I'm talking about a whole new setup. You can go ahead and leave those pumpkins and shit out there. I mean, there's nothing actually wrong with them. They're a nice touch, but they definitely can't cut the mustard on their own. We need a big boy centerpiece. And by that, I mean this. And it's only $60. But if you really want to go all out, I'd suggest this one instead. Not only is it 8.5 feet, it showcases 3 turkeys instead of 1. Yeah, it's $335, but that amount is a lot less important than the look on your asshole neighbors' faces when they see this thing overpowering their front yards. Let that money fly like a private jet. Once we have the soft big boy sitting out front, the turkey we'll be cooking comes into play. Frozen turkeys taste like wet socks, so a fresh one is your best choice. A raw, fresh turkey should be stored for no more than 2 days in the refrigerator. So if you're buying fresh and want to keep it that way, the purchase will have to be made around a day before Thanksgiving. On this chosen day, all other food should be obtained as well, so it can all be obtained in one sitting. And I know every family has their own food of choice, but asparagus wrapped in bacon should be on the table no matter what. Last year, my family made this, and it might have been the best thing I tasted that whole year. So don't let your poor kids suffer. Buy this shit. The pie can be any flavor you want, but making this would probably overshadow every pie you've ever made on this day. It's a combination of an apple, pecan, and pumpkin pie, all laying on a cinnamon roll crust. I put the link to the recipe in the description, so don't pass this opportunity up. Days pass and eventually the day arrives. The first thing you want to do on Thanksgiving, especially if there's a bunch of people older than you and your family, and this one's definitely effective for any kid who's of college age or younger. Make sure the other people in your family have to deal with the cooking and you don't have to do shit. Me and my cousin always slack off and play video games before the feast. And it's awesome. The build-up, the hype, the vibe is always toasty as a Minion waffle in a toaster. This year I'm 18 and he's 16. Old enough to help, but young enough to make sure won't happen. My dad is 50 and he hasn't helped once either, so no matter how old you are, it's never too late to try and escape because life's a game of hit or miss, so it's worth a shot. Chances are your mom, along with the aunts and grandmothers in your family, won't want anybody else's help anyways. They already have to try and dominate in the kitchen amongst themselves. Ask your grandma what she's gonna make, and she'll be like, beans, greens, potatoes,
potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hog, dog, candy, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkey. You name it. You name it. You name it. You name it.
You see, cooking the feast on Thanksgiving, for them, is almost a war. They each strive to create the best part of the meal, like it's a battle against the White Walkers in the Game of Thrones. If your grandma's potatoes are better than your aunt's stuffing, she will smile about it throughout the whole dinner, simmering in unmatchable pride. The aura of such pride can be felt miles in the distance, and if you try hard enough, you can feel some from the other houses in the neighborhood. Another thing is, you better have set an exact time for the family to show up at your house in the first place. Preferably a few days in advance, because, well, Thanksgiving is meant to be family-oriented, so they gotta be here for longer than a single flimsy-ass evening. A couple years ago, my whole family was already in the middle of the feast, and the doorbell rang out of thin air. It was my aunt who just showed up and practically crashed the feast, sat down, and just began to eat. The whole thing was unreal, dude. To this day, my cousin and I still think it was hilarious, but the rest of the family was pretty pissed, so make sure that doesn't happen at your house. Set times, set days, set the table. During the feast, don't dress up in a suit, dress, or anything formal. If your family is one to dress up on this day, get out of that family. It's fun time, and it's time to come downstairs wearing the most comfortable, dirty old flannel and sheep pants you own. Also, don't start a pointless ass fight by bringing up politics or anything that could set someone off. Keep that shit packed away for another day. Thanksgiving is a time to consume delicious food and slack off. Not have your grandpa throw a greasy wing into your lap. Don't talk about boring shit either. If someone brings up a boring or embarrassing topic, change it or just don't even speak. Focus on the food if bad comes to worse, and sit next to your favorite person in the family in advance so you guys could probably just talk one-on-one instead of having to get involved with the typical plethora of old people topics, including the weather, the economy, and the way their next-door neighbor's dog plays in the sun. After the feast ends, you gotta make sure you can escape from having to clean up the table and put things away, just like you avoided having to prepare it all in the first place. You know how people always tell each other to finish what they started? Well, if your family started off by making the food, they gotta finish it too and clean that shit up. Hey, don't call me rude. You wouldn't want to help either, so you can't blame me for giving these helpful ass tips. A great part of Thanksgiving is doing absolutely nothing, but resuming the act of slacking off after consuming all the food, and that's the way you gotta do it if you really want to celebrate Thanksgiving the right way. Everyone should split the leftovers evenly to take home, because the food is probably delicious, so the longer you can make it last, the more days you'll be able to savor its delight. Also, I shouldn't even have to say this, but if you bought a pre-cooked Walmart-ass Thanksgiving dinner, that's a sin of the highest degree, and no matter how massive that inflatable turkey in your lawn is, your holiday is ruined. And you really should be ashamed of yourself and the whole family. Nobody is innocent. That all covers it all, so now with this massive wisdom planted firmly in your head, go out there and enjoy the best Thanksgiving you ever had. Go out there and celebrate Thanksgiving right. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you hit the like button, dropped a comment, or subscribed. Because my biggest goal is to become well known on this website, and every contribution that you make brings me one step closer. More videos like this will be posted along with tons of other shit, so subscribe and join the Carbon Nation today. Unbuckle your seatbelt because the trip has come to a close. With that all being said, I'll see you on the next one. This horse head is mustier than a baby's ass. Pigeon head, you can see out of. Horse head, blind. So incredibly blind. For Christmas, I'm gonna make sure I can actually see out of the mask, because this one was not the easiest. This fucking video took 40 minutes to film.
My leather jacket thriller, the show ain't nothing iller. Man, I'm a lady killer. If I want her, I'ma steal her. I promise I could make her fly away like